I'm here with Stephen Christopher, host of the Business Revolution podcast, and his business is called Sequus. And I actually interviewed Stephen for my podcast. It was a very popular episode. You can find that at jessicarhodes.biz/Stephen-2. He was the second Stephen I interviewed on my show. And we're, bringing it back for a little recap here. Stephen, tell us how you're rocking the podcast.
Awesome. What's going on, Jessica and everybody listening? The podcast is doing amazing. I mean, the podcast started earlier this year, and we're already over 10,000 downloads a month right now. I think we had like 13,000 last month. And it's been really fun. It's been a really great experience for me, but also, it's made unbelievable connections with people that I probably never would have had the opportunity to get in front of, which has been really, really cool.
That's awesome. And you're doing a weekly show? How many episodes per week?
Yep. So we just do one episode per week. And then I've been kind of filtering in some Facebook Live and some other videos to kind of push people to the podcast. And we're testing out doing some video just like this with every guest. After each episode, we'll do like a little 2 or 3 minute teaser episode that we'll release the week before.
That is really great. And you're also getting interviewed on other shows as a guest. How is that working for you?
It's working out really well. I mean, so far what I've seen is the best way to get people to listen to and subscribe to my podcast has been to interview on other people's podcasts. So getting in front of that like-minded audience. And, we've been using Interview Connections now for, I don't know, a while. I mean, at least probably 6 months, I would say. And I've actually referred, 5 or 6 other people that I think have signed up. So the being interviewed on other people's shows is by far the best thing that I've found to drive traffic to my podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's so smart. And it's smart because when you're on other shows, you're in front of people that listen to podcasts, so you can market your show all day long on Facebook or Twitter or to your email list. And all of those are great, but there's no guarantee that the people that you're putting your show in front of actually enjoy listening to podcasts or know how to listen. So when you go on other shows and make that your clear call to action, I think that's a really smart marketing tool. And then once they're listening to your show, you have the ability to talk about what you sell and what you're doing. Whereas on other shows, it's a pitch-free zone where, you're providing valuable content and, attracting people to your community.
Yeah. And that's one thing I found too that's been really, I guess, helpful or been kind of a benefit. If I could go back and tell myself when I started the podcast, I would say, just really focus on adding value. One of my friends and mentors, Hal Elrod, who runs Achieve Your Goals podcast, wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. I asked him in the beginning, I said, hey, how do I drive more people to my show? And he goes, dude, just forget all of the stuff about trying to drive traffic and just focus on like putting out really, really great content and the people will come. So now I get people that are, looking to interview me. I think I interview on probably 8 shows a month.
Yeah. Because you're probably getting people that request you, right?
Exactly. So people are just finding out like, wow, I really have I'm not selling anything, just truly trying to give back to the business community that has helped me become, who I am.
Yeah, that's a great tip that Hal gave you. I was talking to my good friend Corey from Podfly Productions, and we were talking about, when podcasters want more downloads and they ask him like, how do I get more downloads? And he's like, make a better show because people will share your show. They'll, ask their friend, they'll tell their friends, listen to this podcast when it's really good. The hard truth is that most podcasters who don't have a lot of downloads, like their show's just not that good yet. So focusing on better content, providing more value, that's what will attract people. So, and you're doing some great marketing. I want to encourage people to go back and listen to our podcast interview together. It's at jessicarhodes.biz/Stephen-2 for that interview, and it's on iTunes. Stephen, how can people listen to your podcast?
You can go to bizrevolution.com. You can also just search Business Revolution and Stephen Christopher in iTunes if you want to check it out. Would love to have you. Would love to have you listen. Would love to have you give feedback on maybe something that you learned or even a way to improve the show or somebody you'd love to see me interview.
Nice. Yeah. So guys, just keep providing more value. Get out there on other shows, host a great podcast, and you too can have a business revolution. So if you want to be interviewed on podcasts as a guest expert, go to interviewconnections.com. Share the virtual stage with people like Stephen, and we can also help find your guests at interviewconnections.com. Just click on the tab at the top that says podcast host. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Jessica.